So here is the problem. This is a Ford Focus 2001, 123,000 miles on it, and this window will not go up and down. I can hear the electronics working when I push the button, so the window will technically fall down, but it will not go back up again. After doing I have this wedge in here to keep the window up while I'm driving around. I suppose you could put tape over here, which wouldn't look too good. But this will keep it up in a pinch, because after doing some research, I found that most likely what the cause is because I could hear the electronics working. So I don't think it's an electronic problem. It's a mechanical problem. After doing some research on Google, I decided it's probably what they call the window regulator. Now, a window regulator, when I called the Ford dealership, cost $300 parts and labor. If I want to replace the window regulator myself, the part itself cost about $170. At a car parts place, you can get it for about $70, $80. Now that window regulator is in here, so I'm going to have to take this whole door panel off. It shouldn't be that hard. There's screws right there. Now my reasoning is I found a picture on the internet of this regulator, and that's it right there. And it's this main mechanical part plus a few other moving parts. And my guess is it's one of these few little parts that's broken. I really don't know since I haven't opened it yet. But if you do some research on eBay, you can get these parts. So I ordered a kit that includes all of these parts. And if you research on eBay the window regulator repair kit, they make these repair kits for several model cars, and the kit is only $9.99 with shipping. It comes from Turkey, and it does take about 2 weeks, so you're going to have to use a wedge or something to keep your window up for those 2 weeks. With shipping, it only came to $14.90. So before you dish out $300 or $180, think about replacing this regulator or replacing the parts on the regulator for $14.90 and maybe an hour or two of your time. I received my repair kit, regulator repair kit, and it has this plastic part. Hopefully that's the only part that's broken. It has this plastic wheel gear, and it has these two cables. So hopefully all of those won't have to be replaced. And the place on the internet is Sasuya Auto Parts. That's SESUYA Auto Parts. So I'm going to take this door panel off. Before I do that, I'm going to disconnect the negative cable on the back. I have taped up the window so it doesn't fall when I take the innards apart. And I've taken out all these little screws holding on this door panel. You can use a pair of pliers. These are designed, these screws, to be assembled by robots. This size happens to be a T20 piece that I popped out. And that's going to have to be removed too. This piece, which is connected here, and if you notice, there's a little square slot there. So if you take a tiny screwdriver and push it in there, it releases. The other thing you're going to have to remove using a flathead screwdriver, I popped this part out of the door handle, and there are 2 bolts in here. They're going to have to be removed. To remove these 2 screws here, you need a 1/4 inch socket. That's long, so you may have to get this specially. And then the door will come on. I took off this insulation, which is maybe some kind of a soundproofing, which basically popped right out. Speaker out, and there was 1 clip holding it on. I'm going to disconnect this because it may not be this regulator here and back. It may be some part in the motor. So there's 4 screws here. I'm going to take those off and take a look at this before I actually take this metal. Taking this regulator out, pulling back more of the insulation, and the problem was getting the window out of this piece. And it so happens, here's the new one I'm going to be putting in. It so happens there's a button, a release button that needs to be pushed, which you access through this hole right here. When you push it, it releases the window, and then you could pull this out. Regulator. I have to take this part off to replace the cables and rewind them. At this end, this plastic piece slides off, and you can see there's some broken pieces here. I have the replacement part here, which I got in the kit that I ordered on eBay. I'm taking off these 3 screws here using this T30 Torx, and there's actually another video on YouTube that shows how to rewire this, so I'm not going to go into detail here, and it's entitled What Not to Do with a Window Motor or something to that effect, and it actually shows how to rewind this cable. These are the cables. There's 2 of them that come in the kit, and they're different lengths, so when you get the old one off, make sure you replace it with the proper size new cable. And this gear also comes in the kit. The original cable does not look too bad. It's not chewed up, so I'm going to use that one. And this cable, the new one I put on, is what I will feed in there after cleaning up this old gear. And in the kit that I was sent, anyway, this gear does not come off, but even if it did, this gear that came in the kit was too big. Finally got this thing rebuilt. New cables, this part. The gear that goes inside here was the wrong size that they sent me. This was an extremely difficult job, and I would not recommend it. I would say buy the whole new regulator. Do not buy the kit.